This is the Aware Families Podcast, the show that brings you a science-based, practical look at how to use the principles of functional medicine to keep your family healthy. Welcome back to this edition of the Aware Families Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Tom Flass.
And I'm Brittany Coburn.
And we kind of have a special edition today. We are here at Logan Fitness with a couple special guests, and we're going to be talking about, I guess, all things sort of fitness related today with Krista Rufenach and Rose Nicholson. So
great to have you guys today. So yes, tell us which one of you is which so that we can make sure the camera knows who.
So I'm Rose.
Yeah. Okay.
And I have been working at this facility for 23 years, and I've been in the fitness industry for over 30.
That's amazing.
Yep, as a personal trainer, group fitness instructor, a health and wellness coach, and I currently manage our group fitness program.
Awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah, and I'm Krista Rufenach, and I've been here just over 19 years, doing a variety of roles from personal training to speed coach to wellness coaching, and currently am the operations manager of the facility.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you guys have probably seen a lot of big, huge changes just in fitness in the last, you've been here 30 years and 19 years, right? So
Yes.
a lot of different things coming through the pipeline.
Yeah,
Pretty
many
cool.
things.
Yeah, awesome. So we were talking a little bit earlier in one of our previous podcasts about fitness. We talk a lot about exercise. I think we have an entire episode dedicated to this, and we've mentioned Logan Fitness multiple times. So, what is this place?
What is Logan Fitness, and what is, different about it as compared to just just a regular fitness center that you see and on the street corner?
Yeah, we are very large compared to others in the Flathead Valley, and we are also a medical fitness center, so we're medically integrated.
So what does that mean? What does medically integrated mean, just so everyone can understand?
Yeah, so we have, within our facility, we also have a cardiac rehab facility, so we work with those, or I should say, the physicians and providers work with those patients, and then once they graduate from there, they integrate into our facility. We have a Journey to Wellness program.
Okay, so real fast, your cardiac rehab, just because we talk a lot about this kind of stuff, right? So, but some people don't really know what cardiac rehab is, or kind of why you would end up going to cardiac rehab. So what would get somebody into cardiac rehab?
Some kind of cardiac episode,
like a heart attack, so an MI,
stroke, or a sign of something where the cardiologist has caught something and trying to get them back before, so prescribing that.
And so that usually means they have a dedicated group of people working with them, right? So that they're kind of safely learning how to re-exercise.
Yes, so it's definitely it's a clinic within our facility. So they
cool.
are, it's definitely medically integrated there. Yep. Yeah, and then eventually when they graduate from there, they go in and can use our facility and are trained and know the proper ways to do it. When we say graduated, mean cleared by their provider to use the facility by themselves.
There's much more medical supervision than just I'm going to the gym and banging out some weights and probably hurt myself or whatever,
Yes, yeah, they can't do that till that provider clears them, and then maybe not banging the weights right away, slowly getting back into it.
But such a great option.
Yeah.
Because we often talk to folks that are really nervous after having some kind of a cardiac event or something, and knowing that cardiac rehab could be a stepping stone into getting back into regular exercise. I think that's huge.
Yeah, the patient.
Really is.
Go ahead.
No.
Yeah.
Saying the patient just need a referral from their doctor, so that it's not something you walk in and say, I want to do cardiac rehab.
Right.
We'll say that is so wonderful. Go ahead and visit that provider referral, and then that way it stays medically based and all that good stuff.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
And then we do have excellent staff when you do graduate from cardiac rehab. Our personal trainers, our fitness staff, they are knowledgeable, well-trained. They all have certifications, and all of our programs are evidence-based because we are a medical fitness facility. So even when you're not using the clinic, like cardiac rehab, when you go into the other areas of the facility, we have qualified staff to help you along the way.
Yeah, which is so cool.
Yeah. So, and you said how big this facility is. So obviously there's a lot more than cardiac rehab. So
that was when I interrupted her.
Yeah. But that's what we do on this podcast. We try to interrupt each other. So but give us a rundown, sort of. It's I guess a virtual mental tour of the facility, and then what type of programming are you guys offering right now?
Well,
that could be either of you.
I was like, would you want to, or do you want to give it?
There's so much. I could just start with the group fitness
You start,
program.
and then I'll add on.
Okay.
So our group fitness classes are amazing. We have probably 75 classes a week. We have classes for seniors, specifically for seniors. We also have those for people who are elite athletes, like boot camps and cardio pumps and power pumps, a lot of strength training classes. We have some fun classes that offer Zumba.
Yes.
We have aquatics classes. We even have some barbell training classes that are in our turf. A little more specialty there where you're with a personal trainer. So I can't even, I could go on and on and on about all the classes. So we have a lot of options for every age and stage of life.
And are they kind of all times during the day too?
All day long, starting at 5:30 a.m., going all the way, I think the latest class we have is 6:30 p.m.
Yeah, that is awesome. Like, it's such a variety, because we have a lot of patients that attend multiple different classes over here. So they speak very highly of all the programming.
Yeah,
which
and
is
the
cool.
classes are just a small piece of the pie.
Right.
We can go into the weight floor and the basketball court and the running track, and I mentioned pool exercises, but there's also a lot of options in the pool too.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah. What would you like to add to that?
I was just going to say, because what are we looking over right now?
Basketball. So this gym alone is used for our youth. This token youth individual here down there now, but after school it's filled with middle schoolers that come up from the middle school and play basketball. And earlier in the day, pickleball. So we just resurfaced our gym floors, and they're marked out for pickleball and basketball. And so we've made it a permanent piece of us.
That is awesome.
So it's a big part of our population. So in the mornings, typically, weekends. But yeah, so this is used for that. Evenings, we have leagues. So we have a volleyball league that runs, adult volleyball. What else is in there? Our youth program, so our after school and Spark program, they come down and use it. We have a lot of stuff, games and things they play down in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Which made me think about the climbing wall too.
Oh yeah.
Climbing
So
wall.
we do have an indoor climbing wall, and a lot of people use that. And we just got a new mural. It's beautiful.
Oh, it's right over.
Cool.
If you get a chance, go down the track and look at it. And we have 2 more coming. They're really,
it feels like you're climbing outside.
Yeah.
Like it's like
so many people have said how great it is, and we're like, oh yeah, like we thought it was a good idea, but we had no idea that smiles that we put on people's faces.
Oh,
so it's
that's
great.
awesome.
And you use the climbing wall, I think, for some after school, or like I think Montessori might be using that for their
Yes,
for
they
their
are.
PE,
Yeah.
their physical education thing.
Yeah.
So a group of
that's
kids
cool.
come over, and that thing fills up lightning fast. I think it's the one that all the kids want to do, because they get to go rock climb for an hour.
Which is so fun.
And we just got a new floor over there, so it's brand new there, and we just got a bunch of new holds, and we're going to have a competition in a few weeks for the first time, because we're up to the standard of being able to have those competitions. So it's pretty cool. We have a really big climbing bunch of followers that come in the winter, and then they go outside in the summer. But it's a good crew. You're right. It's a very popular place to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it's very kid friendly. That's one thing I've noticed here. There's a lot of kind of in-house kids programming, but then all the stuff, and I want you to talk about the triathlon, because that's one of your babies.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, so we put on a kids triathlon every year, and it is done in July, and it's for kids 4 to 13 years old. It's been going on for many, many years, and it's over at Woodland Park in Kalispell, so thank you to the city for partnering with us with that. But it's an amazing event that fills up every year rather quickly, and it's so cute in a way for kids to get outside and to swim and bike and run, and it's awesome. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it's kids are just so happy, and the parents love it too. And the parents and all of us have come a long way in regards to being great spectators. But no, it's very fun. I mean, your kids
My girls have done it for a number of years. They always
awesome.
have a blast. I look forward to it.
My boys did it for a couple years, and I can't convince them to do it. Now, one of them's still aged in, but the other one's aged out. But it's awesome. So it's a way in. It's very affordable, and there's always an option there if someone wanted to do it and they couldn't afford it. Like, we just want them to get in there and have a good time.
Yeah.
Right.
So
We like to start them young around here.
Yes. Yes.
Which is huge, and we talk about that all the time, right? Like, and growing up, just seeing mom and dad being active, and like it's just part of life. Like, this is normal. It's normal to actually move together and do fun things together, and not just sit on a couch together.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And being able to go someplace where it's like, oh, the kids have swim lessons, so I'm going to grab a 50-minute workout while the kids are at swim lessons, or whatever, kind of things like that.
Yeah, we also have our swim team in here, our swim club. So that's in after school, and saying parents, a lot of those parents, now that I'm one of those parents that drops my kid down the pool for a swim team, they come over here and they work out. And I've really noticed that more so during that time. It's great.
Huge,
because otherwise they might not be coming into the gym.
No.
So it's great. They have no excuse because they're here.
Because they're actually here.
Yes.
If you have a break in your chauffeuring where you can actually take care of yourself.
Yes.
as we were discussing earlier, that self-care thing that sometimes goes by the wayside.
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah.
I know. Put your own oxygen mask on first.
Yeah.
We talk about that a lot.
And my kids grew up in this facility, and they're adults now, and they still have exercise as a foundation.
See, that's awesome.
But they grew up here. They did all of the things that you guys just talked about.
Right.
Yeah, they did Preezy Speed School. Like, oh my gosh, way back in the day, we had that on the Turf, which is a speed school for youth. We have other youth programs now.
Yeah.
I know that's not in this facility, but we have the Performance Center. It's a whole different area that we offer youth programming for those middle school, high schoolers, a big turf batting cage area. But
and
we used
weight
to have,
training too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it's
huge
not
piece
just,
of it is strength. Yes.
And they will kind of work with kids and kind of what their sports are.
Yes.
And do, kind of cater towards the direction they're looking at.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
And we talked about that, how that's changed before, where they're like, weight training in kids, no. But now, if you do it right, ACSM and all the NSCA are like, no, it's good. You just don't, you don't go crazy heavy squats or whatever, but, doing all the functional movement and weight training, I think, has really made a big shift.
Yeah.
Well, it's the foundation of athleticism anyway.
And it's actually safer. Yeah. Like when you have muscle and you have the, the correct movement, the correct way of doing it, it's safer.
And then reducing that injury. Like, oh man. Yeah, the guys out there, we have 3 strength coaches out there. And,
they're awesome.
Yeah. I think they're great. Yeah. But they really truly work with too. We have injured athletes within the high schools, and they recover, and then they go out there and they can communicate that, and so start them after they're released from their provider, and they can go out. And so we start them where they're at and build it back up too. Whereas that you didn't hear that before when we were going to athletes. So it's pretty cool.
Right. It was like, you can walk again. Okay, you're good to go.
Yes. Good luck to you. Hope you don't hurt yourself again. But now there's you hand off, which is great. So it's pretty cool.
For sure.
So why don't we go over sort of different types of exercise, importance of different benefits of different types of exercise in these different age categories. I guess that's a good segue. We're talking about the kids, and because obviously that strength training piece is kind of coming into their own there, and then they're always running around, just kind of being active overall. It's not as defined, but for the adults, maybe we start with cardio, and all cardio is not considered equal. So if you guys want to talk about different types of cardiovascular exercise, and what, I guess examples that you would kind of offer here for those various things, both, and more like we talk about, and we'll probably talk about the zone 2 kind of baseline, the high intensity things, and all points in between. So. What's your take on that, like cardiovascular exercise, and it's gonna be a question for either or both of you to kind of to riff on for a few minutes.
Well, I'll start for my piece. I like a nice variety. So I like to incorporate HIIT training, which is where you do some high intensity exercise and get out of that comfort zone, is what you would probably call zone 2, more of a comfort zone where you could walk and talk with a friend, maybe power walk. You're not just on a stroll, you're moving,
right?
But you're not you're not pushing yourself beyond.
Right. You can tell you're moving. You can tell you're not sitting, but you can.
But you can talk without passing out.
Yeah. But you can continue doing that for a long period of time.
Yes.
And so I like to mix it up. I like to do some steady state training like that. So, just to clear the mind, work out a little bit, but not kill myself.
And build the base.
Build that baseline of cardiovascular fitness and endurance. And that's where endurance comes in too, is more of that steady state training. And then when you do the HIIT training or the high intensity interval training, that's where you get out of that comfort zone and really boost the intensity to a level that you can't sustain. But then you're getting maximum benefits in a shorter period of time. And so I'm all about efficiency. And so that's why I like the HIIT training. But it's not something you want to do every day, because that's where you need that recovery time too. What's your take on cardio, Krista?
Well, I love cardio. For a lot of years, I didn't weight train. Don't worry, I do. I'm big strength train. I strength train a lot now.
She does.
But it's a really big piece of my life. But I'm a runner, and for a long time, people were like, cardio, like, Krista, we don't need to run. That's not what we're. So there's also different types of running. As I've aged, I'm going to run on zone 2 for a really long time and just get out there, mentally clear my mind. That's typically the kind of running I do now, along with strength training. But and then there's the interval. So I'll do the sprints, the speed training, which is also great for you. And so
huge.
I kind of found that piece of the sweet spot on certain days. So, and then also I love Metcon. So it's a class we do on the turf, and it's a form of exercise. But so you have your heavy lifts that we do, and then we do with barbell training, we get your heart rate, they push it. So you're well out of zone 2, and then you have a moment to get back down, then you go do it again.
Okay.
So those are I do that a lot. And so I really found that does great things for myself, and many people really just say, I see a difference in my mental, my physical. They just feel good. Yeah. And so
and there's some interesting data about HIIT training and prevention of cognitive decline. That there's above and beyond. I mean, regular baseline cardio, kind of the zone 2, is good too. Sort of trains your mitochondria. But that high intensity, there's something about the physiologic effects that seem to have like significant added benefits. I think even as we age, and I think that's the population who probably does less of that, but if it's done safely, may have some serious benefits.
And it doesn't have to be crazy. I mean, it's just the difference between if you're building up to that level, it could be the difference between walking and then walking fast, or walking and then adding a little jog in. There's definitely
or altering your speed,
stone.
right?
Yes.
So doing like 30 seconds of like super speed walking, and then going back down and doing 30 seconds of just normal walking.
Because intensity is person to person dependent.
Yes, it totally is.
Very much so. Very individualized.
Yeah, we don't have to be sprinting, a million miles an hour to get an exercise, especially when we're starting.
Yes, because then we're going to be back in because we're injured. We need to do it properly.
Weekend warrior,
Yeah,
right? We would like to do it a little differently. Yeah.
And one of the biggest things we push too is finding something you love to do.
Yes.
Because here we are, we're talking about a little bit about running, but that might not be for everybody.
Yeah,
so maybe it's the sprinting on the cycle, on the bicycle.
Or even not even sprinting, right? Because you can get your heart rate up and do an aerobic type activity and HIIT training without running at all.
Totally.
Or sprinting,
If your knees aren't the greatest or whatever, there's
so many other
workarounds.
things.
There are workarounds.
And there's recumbent bike, there's swimming, there's like all these.
Rowing machine, that's a good one for
rowing is fantastic, and your heart rate goes fast.
Yes.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I did a rowing sprint one time, and
they're intense.
It is super intense.
That's what I've decided is my new OMG.
Yeah.
There's rowing is coming out more and more too. You're hearing about it's the impact. It's not a major impact on
body.
you. Yes, and it's your whole body.
Yep.
It's
core and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I was on the crew team at the
Oh,
University
there
of
you
Minnesota.
go. Nice.
And so I was like, we do this for fun now. Like I went a long time where I didn't get on the rower because that's how you trained in the winter.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, this is great again. But I went a long time where I was like,
nope,
no, thank
not
you.
happening.
Enough of that.
But it's a great workout. Yeah.
They're like, we'll take a pause on that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So for somebody who's like deconditioned, in your experience, how long do you think it takes for them to start to see benefits from, I guess, that mix?
Well, I think it depends on their consistency. If they're how motivated they are, how many times a week they're going to do it. That's gonna depend on how long it takes them to see a benefit.
What's your min max, I guess, on that for Rex, which is kind of a sliding scale, I suppose.
Well, if I compare it to somebody that comes in and does like a fit start, which is something we do when the new member comes in and is just new to the gym.
Okay,
they often do an in-body.
Okay.
And they will get we say it's a great starting off point for them. A little education on where they're at, all that kind of stuff. And then we hear their goals. Okay, so they start. We ask that they don't get on the in-body again for 3 months.
Right.
So because then you might see it change. Otherwise, we want you to see success. And so give your body time to adapt and, all that stuff. So that's what I would say. They're going to feel the mental piece of it way sooner than that. They're going to be like, I feel good, right? And then they're going to be proud of themselves, that piece of it. But actually seeing it on paper.
It's not just a runner's high. It's just anything,
Yes. So, but the paper piece of it, I would say, we say give it 3 months before you might. But it might be sooner, but to guarantee there's something there.
And when I meet new people in class, I always say, okay, welcome for your first day. Just don't have any more first days.
Yes.
Oh, there you go. Totally.
Just keep doing it. Just keep coming, keep showing up. And that's the other thing I tell my class is the hardest part is already done. You guys are here. That's the hardest part is getting here.
People ask us all the time, what's your favorite exercise to tell people to do? And I'm always say the one that you'll do.
Yes, that is 100% true. Yes.
It's like if you love running, run. Right? And I'm a big person, as we'll talk about in just a minute, like weight training is so crucial when you're in a lot of areas. But still, starting out with something you enjoy is key.
Right, which is where the dance classes really come in for a lot of people.
I was going to say, or basketball, like these kiddos out here, or walking with your buddy. I mean, it's not maybe walking with a margarita, but moving. Like still walking, right? Like movement and having companionship, because we know that, that is a huge piece. Like community.
Yeah.
There's a huge benefit to community with maintaining exercise programs.
Which
Yeah,
is the group classes.
Yeah, I was going to say
Yes.
that's huge. We're like a family.
Yeah.
So then when you're missing,
They're like, where are you?
Where are you? And
Are you
you're like,
sick?
oh, you notice?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I better come back.
Accountability.
Yeah.
Yes, and it's great. And I would say it's healthy, the nudge, accountability piece, but okay, I'll come back, you know?
Yeah.
So, no, that's
accountability
huge.
and healthy
Yeah.
competition.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, yeah,
Right.
that's big. Yep. I'm all into that one. Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
So why don't we kind of transition over, talk about a little about strength training, kind of the different types that you offer. How have you seen that all evolve over the past 20, 30 years?
Oh. You can start with, if you
I
want to
can
say evolving over time, then you can say that you've been here longer, that's all.
I honestly, it's evolved in a way, but it's still the core foundations of, squat, bench, deadlift. The way our bodies move, it's just adding variations to that.
Yeah.
So maybe a lunge is a variation of a squat, but some people might use a kettlebell, some people might use a dumbbell. Maybe body weight is where you're starting. That's one of my favorite things to start people on. And I think I told Tom before, the scientific 7-minute workout. It takes 7 minutes. It's all body weight. You don't need any equipment. And just to work on that strength training.
Yep.
To be able to get up and down off the floor.
Functional movement.
Yes.
Functional movement.
But even starting with 7 minutes, I know after having kids, I literally got, out of everything. And so when I finally decided to get back into it, it was an 8-minute yoga. I was like, I can do 8 minutes. I have 8 minutes. I can't argue my way out of 8 minutes. And so that was literally how I reintroduced into exercise.
It's like 5-minute abs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
8-minute
Oh my
yoga.
gosh, yep.
But it did. So I started with 8-minute yoga, and then that bridged the gap. And to now, I work out regularly, but I didn't for a long time. So I get it where people, you have kids, you get overwhelmed, and you're like, I'm barely hanging on. I can't exercise. But I decided 8 minutes. So there's, you're talking about 7 minutes. It's a thing.
Yep, it's real.
And yoga can even be a form of strength training. So
Because it can be hard when you.
It can, because it's
Just
a lot
saying.
of body weight, planking and things.
Yeah.
So strength training can be varied. However, increasing resistance when you strength train is really going to help you build that muscle, and it's not going to make you thick and bulky like a lot of misconceptions.
Yeah.
Because women have gotten into the weight room a lot more recently than we used to. And
that's a change for sure.
so that's a big change because we're realizing that the muscle is what is keeping us strong and healthy and fit.
It's huge. It's huge, yeah.
Yep.
So there are, I've been just doing obviously a deep dive into perimenopause and menopause symptoms, right? And so there's a couple recent meta-analysis that were just published in 2025 that really talk about what is the best form, and this was crazy to me, but what is the best form of exercise for perimenopausal symptoms? And so this is going to be your vasomotor, so your hot flashes, night sweats, joint pain, brain fog, tingly, and it is resistance training, far
doing the right
and
thing.
large.
Yep.
So it's it's resistance training, strength training, and then the aerobic piece.
I believe it.
And this was, comparatively to HRT. So it literally it compares to HRT in reduction of symptoms.
Which is hormone replacement therapy for
thank
the
you.
uninitiated.
Thank you. So that was wild. And like I said, that's 2025. There are 2 different meta-analyses that are out.
I wouldn't doubt that, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe it to be true.
Yeah.
Right.
You
You feel great afterwards. I know my brain literally is more clear when I
Yep.
can
Oh,
do
yeah.
strength training. Not that I
Yeah.
don't love aerobic too, I do,
No.
but I
I'd say
actually
muscles
incorporate it in.
metabolism.
Yes.
I would choose strength over
I like
cardio
that.
if I was short on
I
time
do.
and I had to choose one.
Yep.
So that's what I do. And the other one that I really push is plyometrics, right? And making sure you're getting the jumping for
The
the
power.
bone. You need the bone protection, you need the muscle protection. And for women, we just really need any extra piece we can to maintain bone density and bone strength. But you can add it into your weight training.
Oh, yeah.
So I just
100%.
add
Which
my
is what that
plyos in.
Metcon class is. It's
See?
all within
Genius.
that.
Functional
And
movements and
yes, and that's also, you think about jumping, we were talking about that earlier,
Yeah.
this is a weird movement. Well, when did you pick up something outside recently and have to do something
Yeah.
weird with it, or step up
Yeah.
more than you thought you were gonna? We're preparing you for that as well.
Yeah.
Connective tissue,
Yes.
it's
Yep.
range of motion,
Yes.
it's balance.
Getting up
Yeah.
off the floor. That's
That's
a really
huge.
important thing, especially as we age.
Yeah.
And so that's, that goes back into a burpee or a push-up, a squat, a lunge, you know, being able to get up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen that little thing that's going around where I cannot do it, so I will not do it.
Oh, I've seen it.
You sit on your knees
I'm
and
afraid
you
to
have
try
to
it.
I tried it.
Jump up onto your feet?
Yeah,
How'd it go?
It didn't go well.
Okay, so I won't try
So
to
I
do
need
it.
to keep working. But you
you
are
gotta face
on your
plant.
knees and you have to jump to your feet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do
you have your
exercise.
website? I
Is,
feel like
it,
she
is
might
this a
be able
TikTok
to.
challenge?
Yes.
Yes.
I think
Okay.
it is.
So if you don't fall on your
Very
face, that's what I'm
difficult.
worried about.
Oh, it's a lot better than the Tide Pod challenge.
Okay, it's not.
So,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
This is safer.
So, yeah,
Although you could still knock your teeth out.
Yeah, that's
I
what I'm
suppose.
actually was like, watch some of it, and I was like, that had to hurt their face. Yeah, that's why. Yeah.
have a pad there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Be
my
ready.
kids can do it. I, however, I am not there yet.
Okay.
So just
We'll have to
FYI,
try it later,
you
but
guys might have
no.
to try and then send us a note if you.
Maybe we
Let's
should
try it, yeah.
video it, and just kidding.
should
That
try
would
it.
be great, actually.
But yeah, for the strength training, I know that's
Okay.
either getting a personal trainer or the group classes, and not, there are advanced classes, but there's also beginner weight training classes.
Yeah.
I know that you all offer.
We also offer more recently Strength for Life. So how long ago do you think that was started?
Probably a year.
Yeah, so that is
Yeah.
more of our retired population.
Okay.
And so we've seen it's blowing up.
It
Nice.
is
Yeah.
So it's huge,
Huge.
both
That's
men and women
awesome.
in that class, and they're doing it's strength training,
Yeah.
functional movements, the plyo stuff up to what they're able to do.
Yeah.
Some
That's
of them
awesome.
even have gone advanced and done super strength. A couple of the guys, mostly they stay in there, but they've even competed. So we
Yes.
have a lady. She's in her 80s.
I was thinking of her
and
too.
she did
Yeah.
competition, and
That's
she
awesome.
has set some records because it's like the one and only, right? She's
Yeah.
done amazing things. So, and she came in not knowing how to lift up the bar or do, and so
Yes.
she was just doing the dowel to the, advancing
I
up.
remember
and so-
teaching her how to jump over a hurdle.
Yes.
She was so scared to jump over a hurdle, so we just put like a piece of tape down
Yeah.
and just had her jump over that.
Yeah. Well, that's actually
And
how
so
I
she
start
was-
with plyometrics
yeah.
with people in the office. I put a piece of paper down and I just say jump over the paper because that way if you trip.
Because they worried about tripping.
Yes.
Right.
And for good reason.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is awesome.
But it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. So that's a class that we recently, and I mean, whoever came up with it or thought of it was a great way to kind of divide up a little bit, and it
Yeah.
was more appealing then too. Oh, this is my, I'm not,
Yeah.
so-and-so's not in there that's 30 years younger than me or 40 years younger,
Yeah.
right? So it helped a little
Take
bit.
on that
but
intimidation factor.
yes, exactly. So
And that's what I would go back to saying about our facility and our staff too, is that we keep things safe.
Yes.
Yes, we're talking about jumping and doing some crazy stuff sometimes, but that's not where you start.
Right.
No.
And,
Right.
And we're all about safety first.
Yeah.
And
And form, probably,
Oh,
like by
yes.
having, because you can really hurt yourself
You
if
sure
you
can.
don't have form and you're not lifting
Yeah.
correctly.
yeah,
Yep.
you have to do it properly. And that goes back to youth too. So a lot of our strength coaches, they shared this with me probably about a month ago.
Yeah.
We just recently went into the middle school. So we do an early out. One of our coaches goes in and helps with the program they have. But he said the goal would be to even have our middle schoolers just be able to properly lift.
Yes.
So when they get into our high schools where
Yeah.
there isn't the money in our school system to hire a bunch of
Right.
strength coaches, right?
Yeah.
And so so they know how to lift properly to
Yeah.
help prevent that injury. So kind of helping out the community and saying, all right, schools, we're behind you on this, and athletes, because that's a missing piece. They get there and they're like, I got it, and then we're setting ourselves up for
Yeah.
I think it's amazing. I did that when my oldest son was in high school. We didn't have that program, but I hired a coach just because I wanted him to be able to lift properly,
Yeah.
and not get hurt when he
Oh,
was,
for sure.
in the football weight
Yeah.
floor with all these other guys trying to outdo each other.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I wanted him to be able to not get hurt.
Yeah, set
Right.
them up for success, and then
Right.
later on, it might not hurt him now too, but it might hurt him later on when he go to do
Bad
it.
habits over
back
time.
in the day, I did this, and I'm going to try it again. Yes,
Yeah.
and then he's going to have a problem with something. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's cool.
So maybe we'll shift a little bit and start talking about assessment, because one of the things that we've been working on is kind of a cooperative between Functional Medicine Associates and Logan Fitness, and really trying to get a more comprehensive, what we call cardiometabolic assessment, which is really looking at both people's, and when we talk about cardiometabolic, we're looking at heart health as well as like your metabolic health, meaning like where are you in that prediabetes, diabetes spectrum, because they're really all kind of intertwined, but the fitness part of it is such a huge part of it. And so I think, because we run a lot of labs, and as part of the more comprehensive assessment, we can look at all the labs and not just looking at your hemoglobin A1C, which kind of measures your average glucose, which has use in it, but a whole bunch of other markers and more in-depth lipid markers to really try to further dig out, like, is somebody at risk for developing heart disease, for developing diabetes, some of these other metabolic disorders. But then the fitness assessment adds such a huge component to it, because that's where sort of like where the rubber meets the road. So tell us about, like, when it's your I forget what it used to be called. The
Healthy measures.
Yeah, healthy measures. So we kind of are incorporating
Krista and I have done thousands of
Yes,
these.
we've done many of these.
So walk us through that. What does that look like? What does it measure? And why do you feel like it's a useful metric?
Well, Krista already mentioned the body composition earlier, and
Which
tell us
again what that is really fast, just so we make sure people
that
know.
measures your lean muscle mass, and your body fat.
And it's the thing, right, where you just like squeeze
stand on it and hold on to it. You don't have to squeeze.
Okay,
you just light grip, where your thumb's on there, your heels are on there.
So it doesn't hurt people.
Oh,
like
no.
they just stand
You're
there.
not getting shocked. It's mild electricity. You don't even feel it.
You don't feel it though, but you just stand there. Like
you just stand there and they tell you to relax and not talk. And it does it.
And that's one
things
thing
to you.
that's changed. Back when I was first doing personal training, I had to learn how to do body fat calipers.
Yes.
You know,
I forgot all about that.
You had to pinch people in 7 different sites.
Oh my gosh, we won't even go there yet.
I know.
It was,
So that has changed a little bit. Now we have this wonderful machine. It works. It's very accurate. It has just a little inaccuracy margin depending on hydration and if you've exercised that day. Or if you have a lot of food, or you're wearing heavy clothing, so it's best to be assessed.
Or you're on your cycle.
Yeah,
Put that in there too.
You
don't want to do that while you're on your cycle. Yeah, or getting close to it. I wouldn't do any of that. Just wait till
changes water retention.
It just changes things a little bit.
It does, So there's a few variables, but for the most part, it's very accurate, and it's a good baseline to start with, so you can see your progress.
Which is so
a lot of times, people will get on a scale and they think they need to weigh a certain number. But it's not that way when you're doing body composition. It's not about. It's not even about the number on the scale. It's about the number in the category of muscle.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it's really about, because the more muscle you have, the lower your body fat's going to be. I've measured people who were normal height and weight, but they were under-muscled, which made them have maybe 30 to 40% body fat, even though they maybe only weighed 120 pounds.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm talking about
which is a big...
That's where that whole TOFI thing comes
Yes.
out. Like if you we're doing an MRI on those people, and you'd see inside, like just caked with fat, and that's where that in-body can pick that up, whereas the
that
scale...
visceral fat, like even the...
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, and the scale will not pick that up. You
just get a number.
Fit, you have...
Yep, and they're set. They think,
Which increases your risk then of like heart disease, diabetes, cancer,
Sudden death.
all the biggies,
All the stuff.
So
Absolutely, and then you'll get someone who is has a lot of muscle. They still maybe have a little bit of body fat, so they don't look lean. But you get them on the body, you get them on the in body, and you're like, wow, you have so much muscle, and maybe you're 20% body fat, so you don't look like a fitness model, but you're still lean.
and you're metabolically, you're cranking, you're doing well.
Yes. And you can celebrate that on this machine too, because they don't celebrate that when you get on the scale and you're like, the number. No,
well,
this is a number to celebrate.
Their BMI will look really high.
Oh, BMI is like,
Exactly.
that word.
Their BMI is high, but their body fat is not.
Yes.
So that's why we don't use a BMI in the office as like a number or a measure. So we like to use this.
Body comp is definitely the way to go.
Yeah.
And then our machine does do a prediction of your basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories you burn at rest.
Yeah.
And so it kind of helps people too when they're like, how much should I be eating?
That's actually really helpful, because people will ask us that all the time. So I love it. Does it also give you like your estimated age? Like
no, it doesn't do that. No, it doesn't. We should. That'd be fun to add that in. Maybe you should send that to InBody and say we should have an update.
I should.
Because my watch tells me that.
I know.
And I'm like, ooh, I'm doing a good
You have a mirror on the wall.
Does it help? It helps.
It
does. Like, I'm feeling today.
I know, I'm feeling good. Yeah. Or if I wasn't, I sure am now.
Yeah.
My Oura ring says I'm 7.5 years younger than I am.
See? Yeah.
Cardiovascular wise.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, but that's huge. I know. So mine, I have one of those little scale things, but it does that too, and I'm a good 5 years younger. I think 5, something like that. Yeah. But every time I'm like,
good for us.
That's why I was like, well, maybe that one does it too.
No, sorry. Yeah. But it does. It tells you kind of, the only reason I focus on this number, but it'll tell you like how much fat it wants you to gain or muscle it wants you to gain or vice versa, right? Yeah. And oftentimes people will be like pleasantly surprised. Now we say, look, it says you're perfect, because it says 0. Oh. So that's when I celebrate that number. Otherwise, I really don't focus on it. But when it's 0, I'm like, guys, look at that. You got an A+ today. According to this machine, you are set.
Yeah, you don't need to gain muscle and you don't need to lose fat.
But I always say there's always room to gain muscle, is what I always tell them.
Somebody's busting their butt and their scale hasn't changed that much, and they're kind of down on themselves, and then you're like, you gain 10 pounds of muscle, and that's huge.
That is really huge. When people are losing weight and they're exercising, they might be building muscle and the scale isn't changing, but their composition is changing.
Right.
Exactly.
So
and clothes will start to fit better.
Clothes will, that will
even
change,
if the number doesn't change, things do change. You know what I mean? So
I would say my pants are my scale.
Yeah.
I would just say as long as everything where it's supposed to be. And
then when you can correlate stuff like that with your fasting insulin dropped 10, 15 points. You know, some of your other markers, your triglycerides came way down. All these things that are showing all these collective things that show you're on the right track. And, I think that's so helpful for some people to give them a little.
I know that's maybe not why we're here today, but fasting insulin, do we know why that's not a standard at a wellness visit that you would test that?
It is
at our clinic.
Oh, it's at your clinic. Good, because I was going to say, recently I hear more and more about that too, and
so
it's not part of it.
It's not, and we do it.
Pretty much everybody.
Pretty much everybody,
that's
and
great.
multiple times. So, and it's very inexpensive, no matter what they tell you.
Heard.
Very inexpensive, and you can get then a home IR score, which when you take your fasting glucose and fasting insulin,
it calculates a number.
It calculates
that tells
a number
you if you're on that pre-diabetes
or the insulin resistance, right? And so it's huge for us, and I use this number every single day for people.
And we should be checking every high school kid, because the CDC came out with data said over 30% of high school kids is pre-diabetic or real close to that. Yeah. And that is, why isn't that front page news? That's just national emergency status. And this is the best way to pick that up.
And how is the fasting insulin different than A1C?
So A1C is your 3-month average of blood sugar levels. And so, you're going to have highs and lows, and it tries to pick up the average, right? And a fasting insulin is literally just one day in time, one moment in time of
how hard is your body working to keep your blood sugar at the level it's at? So if you're really fit and what you call insulin sensitive, your body has to put out very little insulin in order to metabolize glucose, because it's so sensitive. But when you're in that diabetes phase, your pancreas is cranking out insulin because your body's not listening to the signals, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, your fasting glucose is 95, which is okay, but your fasting insulin is 100. You're like, wow, you are. You don't even know it, but you
I'm
are on the
glad to hear you guys check for it, because I was I've read about it so much lately.
Yeah, and we also, I shoot for a fasting glucose of 70 to 85 is the number that I push for patients. So I don't like a fasting glucose of 103, even though it's not diabetic or pre-diabetic. Diabetic, you need a fasting glucose of 126 2 different times. But that's why wait till someone has diabetes.
Right.
Why wait?
Yes.
Right? And so you have a glucose of 104. That's actually worrisome. We don't want to sit there and watch that. We want to be implementing all the things that we're all talking about today.
Yeah.
Right.
To hit those.
Which is also where we've been really big on using the continuous glucose monitoring on more people, which is so eye-opening.
I wore one for 2 weeks. I loved it.
They're so awesome.
Yeah.
They're
we were just saying, I said, I need to get myself one of those. I said, just because it's fascinating. Oh, I should come visit.
Yep.
Okay.
Pop over.
Yeah.
$55.
Because that meal was fine, wasn't it? And then you look at your glucose and you're like, ooh, that meal was definitely not fine, because you got a huge spike. And again, your hemoglobin A1C might be totally fine, but you're like, oh, and then I crashed. And then you can correlate. Real too. Yeah. You can correlate these it's called reactive hypoglycemia. Yep. It's, I think, really under-recognized, and especially in women.
And it's also waking women up at night. So that's one of the things when we're in this perimenopause, menopause, we're not regulating our insulin glucose levels well. We often, not everybody, but you'll wake up all the time and we're like, oh, it's my hormones. Well, it might be, but it also sometimes is your blood sugar's
You're
dropping.
Wearing a CGM and you look at your overnight
and then
values.
You see it on there.
Whoa.
So then we do some different things, right? Do a protein snack at bedtime and really work on this metabolic health, like we've been talking about.
Making you more insulin
And then
sensitive.
You don't have these dips. And then all of a sudden people sleep. And then when you sleep, you feel better in the morning. And then your whole world is different.
We were just talking about that. How sleep is honestly the foundation.
It's the foundation.
That comes before all of this other stuff.
I do sleep first, and then I do exercise, diet, and then obviously emotional connection, but sleep is literally, you can't do anything for
but you're just saying how if we have a cruddy night's sleep, then our workouts are awful in the morning.
Yeah.
And then you're then you're even worse off, because then you're mentally just oh, that was awful.
And if you're tracking your heart rate variability, you can see it right off the bat. Oof, that is bad news.
Right.
Yeah, that's when I should listen to the device telling me not to go work out. But I'm like, I'm sure I'm fine. But I'm like, oh, my watch was right.
That's when you do like the real, the lazy zone too.
Just walk the track for a while.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe that's when you do walk with your coffee.
Yeah. Or have one of those hats where it just kind of goes into your mouth.
Oh my goodness.
Like remember those beer hats you always see at the baseball games or whatever, but you have one for coffee.
Yeah, that's funny.
There's days.
There's days. Yeah, there is.
Okay, so body composition, and then how about what are the other components of the fitness assessment?
Well, the grip strength is just a simple measurement of your, because I say grip strength has a direct correlation with overall strength. And so then we can do that quick test without having to like get you down on the bench to do a bench press or a squat. So it's just it's
surprising how well it correlates too. Like all-cause mortality.
Well, I was going to say they're talking about one of the number one predictors of longevity is grip strength.
Yeah, cardiovascular risk factors.
Yeah.
It's like
it's
just
wild.
from your grip strength. So.
And people, they often, do you remember, I mean, I feel like we did that so much, but they were like, really? Oh, geez. Or they were like, oh, man, I got a lot of work to do. It's also, sometimes catches them off guard in projections.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
So, again, pretty simple.
Okay.
Takes like
and
less
easy.
than a minute.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Very inexpensive.
And then we do a 3-minute step test, and that one measures your heart rate recovery.
Yeah.
So I will say there are some people who can't finish the step test. And so that right there tells you that you
have some work to
do.
Yeah. But again, it doesn't mean it's not to dissuade anyone, right?
No.
It's just to be like, hey, okay, great. Here's where we are.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And now we can improve on this from here.
And
but if you don't know,
orthopedically, if they had an injury where they couldn't step, there's probably other ways of doing it.
You can do a sit to stand test.
And then anything that gets your heart rate up fairly high, and then you see how it recovers. Because it's like you do the 1 minute, 2 minute, and 3 minute. You do like the recovery values, like after their heart rate comes up.
Right.
And and what does that tell us, I guess, about that person's?
Well, the more fit you are, the quicker you recover from an elevated heart rate. So it's just telling you that your cardiovascular fitness is high if you recover quickly. And your cardiovascular fitness is not as great if it takes you a long time to recover. Your heart rate's still up. My dog did this the other day on the treadmill. She's panting and panting. She did an underwater treadmill. And I was like, that was a lot of work for her because
that's kind of cute.
She was still panting. If I took her heart rate then, I'd be like, yeah, you are not fit for this exercise.
Yeah. But yet she walks her all the time.
Right. But it was a different exercise.
So it's different exercise.
Yeah.
So, it just tells us how quickly we recover. A lot of times in my classes, we'll go from something that's like a high heart rate movement to something that's maybe laying down on a bench. And I always tell people, let's take a few minutes because I have such multi-level people in my class.
Yeah.
It's like, let's take a few seconds to recover because I don't know how fast each person is recovering in a group exercise format. And so I try to be really cautious in that manner. And I always tell them too, the quicker you recover from the elevated heart rate, the more fit you are. So keep doing it.
Yep, that's awesome.
And so I think
that's pretty much the
you
basic
got it, I think. Yeah.
And so with our kind of packaged up cardiometabolic fitness assessment, so you do that. So you do the body composition, the grip strength, the heart rate recovery. We do a full panel of labs to really parse out like somebody's heart disease risk, diabetes risk, overall kind of metabolic risk. And then we also do the CGM, and they wear the continuous glucose monitor for a couple weeks, and then get that data, see what meals do, see what how does sleep affect them, and really get that eye-opening thing. And then we're able to kind of tell people what do these mean, like how at risk are you for these things, and I think it's a very personalized direction. Then you can kind of take
very
things
personalized,
and it's so much more than your annual checkup. This really looks
a lot
at
more.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And some people think they're fine, I'm fine. And then you look at, you get something like this done, and you're like, oh, yes, you have some work to do, but better we catch this now. I mean, again, the upstream medicine thing, catching this early when there's time to turn that chip away from the iceberg is always important.
But still not a reason to not do it if you're 65, 70.
No.
Like, do it any time. Like, we don't have to do it when we're 20. You know what I mean? Like, we can do it at any age.
Yeah, and in fact, we should absolutely be doing this on people who are
Everybody.
at that age category where it's like, you could be at higher risk. Like, and maybe if things look great, that's awesome, but I think it's always better to know. And then, because these are all actionable things, right? Oh, your heart rate recovery is not great. boom, you know, we can develop a fitness plan to kind of get that on
Yep.
there, which is also going to help things like your fasting insulin and your insulin sensitivity, and your CGM's probably going to read better once you get the right fitness plan. So it really just feeds to like a good comprehensive plan for that person, I think.
Yeah.
And what about your testing? Because, you know, maybe you have an athlete that they do have a low, you know, they do have low body fat, they do exercise, they do have cardiovascular fitness, but do they have risk factors from their, you know, their family history or something? Like,
Right.
that's what you're testing.
Yep.
Because you hear about people, they're like, people tell me this all the time, like, oh, I don't know why people exercise anyway, because all the fit people die. You know, like
Really?
The people who are exercising are the ones having the heart attacks. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
you sometimes
They're the
hear
ones that
these-
make the news. Probably, you mean they're professional marathon runner?
Right,
The one
yes.
over how many
Yeah.
years? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
But cigars and whiskey every day, you'll live forever.
Right, totally, yeah.
But people, you know, it's like that confirmation bias.
Yes.
Totally.
They hear that somebody who's exercising had a heart attack, and so now they're like, why exercise?
Yeah.
So what does your test pick up that maybe an athlete wouldn't know about?
Well, we do a bunch of different lab tests too, like LP(a), so lipoprotein A, and then ApoA, ApoB. We do that often, and those can give us a little bit of a genetic component, the LP(a).
Like heart disease, independent heart disease risk factor that it's modifiable a little bit, but it's one of those ones like if you have a lot of people who have early heart attacks in your family, it's something you definitely need to get checked.
So when we catch that early, you know,
Yes.
that's huge.
Yeah.
And also, you know, I mean, we do the EKGs, we can do coronary calcium artery scans, right? Like
What is
there's
that
a
right there you said? Sorry, I'm not familiar.
So a coronary calcium, it's a mouthful, is what it is.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like,
calcium
whoa,
score.
what was that?
A lot of people just call it a calcium score.
Oh, okay.
How much gunk you got in your heart?
heart
okay, there.
arteries.
Yeah, I just needed the simpler. It's okay. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
I know. Well, I was gonna say I trip over it every time.
You did
I
a great
talk
job
to
of
people
saying it,
about
though.
The
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah.
But so I will get that a lot. Also, if I'm gonna do like HRT with somebody, and so if they have some higher numbers on their lipid panel and these other markers, I'll get one of those scans just to get us an idea, and then we determine, you know, how aggressive can we be, or should we be doing more of a workup?
Yeah. Or there's people that they come in. You and I both had cases like this. We're like, oh, your cholesterol's a bit up, you know, but you know the family history wasn't horrible, and you're like, well, you know, all right, are you at risk? You know, how aggressive do we need to be? You do the calcium score, and it's 0. Like there's no arterial plaque.
Yes.
You know, it's such like a. I mean, it doesn't totally exonerate everything, you know. It's not like they're at 0 risk, but versus if you have a calcium score of 1,000, then that's somebody who really needs to get plugged in with cardiology and probably needs to be doing some more things.
Well,
so it can really help
like,
give a different look.
Peter Attia talks a lot about that with his own score, right? So in his book, the recent one, Outlive or whatever, he talks about his coronary calcium artery score being high, and it was kind of like part of his jump start into like, whoa, hold up. And he was in his early 40s and needing to make a giant change.
Is that when he started doing less cardio, more strength?
That's when he flipped his whole thing. Yep.
Yeah.
So, because he was
See? No, it's
swimming
okay.
marathon, like doing the swims and stuff,
Yeah.
and then decided he had to do strength training.
Awesome.
I mean, a lot of other things. I think he did a lot of other
And
things.
there's
Right, that
probably
was just one
genetic
tweak, yeah.
factors and
Yeah.
things like that, but that's just
Yeah.
another way of looking at it. That now we have places we can order it from where it's very inexpensive.
That's what I was just going to ask
About
you. Is it
$100.
It's not an expensive test.
No, it's
Nope.
not.
Again, we should put that on the list of like it should be on the everyday. Like,
Yeah,
why
it's
not know
it's
that
not
number early on
expensive. Yep.
before we're in there? And
You know,
that
not
we don't
everybody
love-
needs one, but I think
No,
if you're really trying
Yeah.
to decide
Yeah.
like at risk, really at risk,
Right.
or this is a huge feather in your cap and we're not as worried anymore,
Yeah.
it can really.
Yeah.
Oh, that's-
but it's
yeah.
also non-invasive and it doesn't hurt you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A little bit of
So-
radiation, but not that much,
smidgen.
you know, and
No,
you know,
it's-
so
yeah.
it's
So,
for those
fascinating.
cases.
Yeah.
All right, so how do people find out more information about your programming at Logan Fitness?
They can go to our Facebook page or our
oh,
Instagram.
awesome. Okay.
They could go to logan.org/fitness. They
Okay.
can come in and say hi. We'd love to give them a tour.
I was going to say, you do tours here. I
Yes, all
noticed.
day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Membership's happy to answer any questions. Any of us are, but membership or front desk. So just stop in, say hi.
Yeah.
And if you don't live in Flathead Valley, well, I guess Lakeside's in the Flathead Valley, but we have a gym also in Lakeside, and we have a
Nice.
gym in
cool.
Polson.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Cool.
if they're wanting, happen to be wanting those two, to stop into those gyms. And
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and then you can always give us a jangle at Functional Medicine Associates in Montana, 406 501 6570. Is that our number?
He looks like what?
I'm like, wait, is that right?
Yes, That is
or
correct.
functionalmedassociates.com.
Yep. Totally. Or Facebook or Instagram. Not that I remember our handle, but.
Yeah.
It's okay, your name will search it out.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can just search it.
But we'll start to post some material about because I figure New Year's is always a good time to do that, like the cardiometabolic package. You know, we're going to have options where people can get the assessment and work one-on-one with me or Brittany, or we're going to potentially put together something where we can do a group class, a group medical visit, essentially, for people that just kind of want a lower entry point with kind of like the functional medicine, where we'll really educate and talk in general about like what do people's labs mean, what does their fitness assessment mean, and then they can kind of just take that and apply it to themselves, and then maybe take that information to their primary and kind of work with them. So we're trying to make it open, because I think it's just so important to get this done, because there's a lot of people who are at risk, who don't know they're at risk, who really should get a more comprehensive cardiometabolic assessment done.
I love it. And then we're here for the next steps. If you want to, move forward with the exercise and the fitness piece, and
looking
at
even group class,
group classes, or
personal training.
Even a health coach to help you figure out where to start, because sometimes it's overwhelming.
For sure.
And I know earlier on we mentioned Journey to Wellness very briefly, but that would be something too, that when they get to that point, they want to come into the gym, and Journey to Wellness is one of our wellness programs, and with our personal trainers and wellness coaches, you can come in, referral, and they can, it's a little more gentler introduction.
And very affordable.
Very affordable.
Have a weekly check-in with a health coach.
Yeah, that's huge.
So a way to get in here and kind of get used to it and comfortable. Yeah.
Right, because that is a big barrier. I know when I'm talking to people, is just like taking the next step. And if you haven't been, you can look over here at the gym area too, and if you haven't been in one, it's intimidating. Like it totally is. So
and I tell people who have memories of like the gyms of the 80s.
The bros.
I've been to the Meathead Bro gyms,
Bro
and this is not that. I mean, but it's serious. I mean, there's serious people, and I've vocalized to you guys, I've been so impressed with like some super strong women that I see in these classes are just really out there kicking butt.
And we do have a special
really
women's strength training program too.
That's awesome.
And I don't even know if it has openings right now, because it's so full.
I believe it's full, but we're always trying to find ways to expand. But it's definitely something that people are looking for, and that's why it seems to be full a lot. So
cool.
Yeah.
Well, what would be some parting words from you guys? Like, if you had to hammer home one point, or something that everybody could just take away from this, what would be your thoughts?
Well, I already sort of thought about this. And one of our taglines that we've used in the past is exercise is medicine.
Yeah.
And then also that, muscle is the currency of longevity. I got my words twisted up. But, having muscle is going to help you as you age.
Yep.
I think when I work with people, clients, the most important thing that it comes down to is not just longevity, but having, what is the word I'm looking for?
You just said it.
Quality of life with longevity.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like that.
Sorry,
that's
quality of life with longevity, because it's not just living longer; it's being able to live
better.
independently.
To live
Independently.
Yeah.
Nobody dreams about going to the nursing home.
No.
When they're in their 80s, they want to still be out doing stuff with their grandkids and their great grandkids, and they don't want to be dependent on people.
Right.
Yep.
So it's independence, and I mean, we're all young. We don't have to think about this today, but we do.
Right.
You pay your future self.
Yes.
You do. If what you do today is going to benefit your future. And so that was a really long tagline. What do you have?
No, it's okay.
I love it.
I would just say,
just do it.
Yeah. I would say just put your fear aside. I mean, we all starting new or starting something new it's hard and it's fearful. But just put it aside and come in, say hi. Meet the family here at the gym, or any other gym that's near you, but get out and just start moving.
Yeah.
And you will be so glad you did it, and you're going to feel good, especially that mental health. Like it's amazing how you feel once you get going, and you're very proud of yourself. So just go do it.
I've seen a meme that says, I regret that workout, said no one ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's very true. Very
It's
true.
true, because even when you're done, even if you're exhausted and you're like, I don't know how I made it through, you're so happy you did it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes for me, that's like the way I can get myself to start the next one, is I remember how good it feels at the end.
Right. And to even just look at your watch and go, 45 minutes from now, I'll be done.
Yeah.
And I'll be feeling great.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that long.
Huge.
It's not, you don't have to invest a ton of time into being fit.
Right.
Yeah. And not to toot my own horn, but when I switched roles into the manager role, I couldn't work out in the middle of the day anymore. And I was like, when am I going to do this? And I was very fearful of what's going to happen? Yeah. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning now and I come to the gym. And not that that's easy, but man, is my day better because I got up that early. And that's what I remember as I'm having to do it again. I'm like, remember how good I felt when I finished. Right. And so sometimes it doesn't seem realistic, but then as you're doing it, it's getting you through your day. Like you feel better. Yeah, right. So.
That's a good tip. Yeah. That's a good tip for sure.
Yeah.
It's a good theme to finish on.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
awesome.
Well, thanks everybody for listening. Again, this is all of us here at the Aware Families podcast. Not sure what we're going to do for our next one. We'll sort of figure that out in the next week or two and wing it. But you can obviously, I think we already said, look us up at functionalmetassociates.com or our Twitter or
we don't have Twitter.
Not Twitter. Sorry.
Facebook, social or Facebook, Instagram, and then our website.
Yes.
Yeah. Stop in. Pop by the office.
Yeah.
That's how I found you guys.
Yeah.
I just stopped in.
Yeah, I was going to say, we have lovely people working, Gretchen at the front desk and Tabitha. They would love to chat with you, so anytime.
And we'll be getting some information out there about this cardiometabolic fitness assessment. If people are interested, we'll be putting stuff on our website. We'll be sharing it with the folks over at Logan Fitness and trying to get people back on track.
Awesome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you guys so much for taking time to visit. Yes, awesome.
All right, we'll sign off.